What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What's good, people? What is up? What is? They went from the fourth level of hell and sent us down to the seventh level of hell. Why? Because then you got Kwanzaa pulling out her titties. The whore pulled out her titties, and these whore bags over here started feeling and fondling on her tits. Mike,
I don't have it to do with you. Girl, you can go over there, rant and rave. Girl, you can shake all your rainbow bright hair all you want, dear one. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I'm not doing this with you, dear one. I don't have nothing to do with you, and I'm done. Baby, you can scream my name from the rooftops from now till Jesus come back. I'm done after this.
Introduced to Tick's meat. Do you see what I see? Did y'all really hello, casting, wardrobe, y'all let him roll up out of wardrobe with these fans on, giving us all of this, thinking we were not going to see it? We have been waiting with bated breath and anticipating all season long for the slightest glimpse, and y'all just put it out there this episode in all of its magnificent glory.
Listen, that young man said, baby, you ate on this first date, you giving up the cooch on the first date, okay? Well, you gonna run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. That's how I do this song. That is the new song. Listen, somebody need to put a beat to that. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. Run me my cooch or run me my coins. This what y'all got going on.
Called out Sandcastle. Sand, bitch. Ow. Oh my God, it was so funny, girl. Woo, baby, listen, let me tell you something. This shit started to turn into the precursor for some gay porn. That's what I thought it was. Because Big T is getting all, the voice starting to go deeper and get a little more wet and moist and sentimental and all of this shit. And it was real gay at this point. Like, I thought the bitch was going to, I thought Lil Bird was going to turn Big T around and do him like he did Uncle Cliff and do the grease it up with City Lou and ran right in there. It's not a coincidence that Big T started off the conversation by trying to find out if Lil Murder was fucking Mercedes, which he found out he's not. It's also not a coincidence that he would start talking about prison. Why? Because the bitch was probably up in prison. Girl. Uncle Cliff, you better go get your man. Big T got plans for that. Well, he had it on look like something Big Bird vomited up or something like that. Like, I did not like it. That Big Bird couture he was going for, it did not work. Like the pastor of a gay mega church on Easter Sunday. Okay, it was way too much sequins. He had way too much makeup. Baby, his face looked like Yana Van Zant's neckline. Okay, just way too much makeup, clumped in everywhere on his face. Get it together, sweetheart. And you're a big girl, so that gives you a whole lot of canvas. So that was a whole lot of makeup, honey. Yeah. Rico looked like he was auditioning to be one of the three kings, or he was auditioning to be the main character on Jesus Christ Superstar. Girl, Wayne, did you have on a blue thong or a blue G-string or something? If you did, I want to see. Hit me up in my DMs. I do want to see if you have a blue thong or a blue jock strap or something like that. I'd love to see it too. Anyway, but I liked it with the turtleneck. Now, Troy.
Well, hello. How art thou? How's everyone doing? I know I'm late. I had some things that I had to do after the Teacher Project 2.0. I ain't put out no notifications, no nothing for this. We just live. We just here. Y'all go ahead, like the video, share it out, all of that good stuff. We're here. I don't even know how many days this is. Oh, dear God. But we're here. Nevertheless, I done been a long time without doing a politics of it all. I am kind of tired today because I worked all day, did Teacher Project 2.0. Now I'm doing this live, and I got more meetings tonight. But nevertheless, we are here, and we are here for y'all. Listen, you know how the old saints used to say, I had to press my way. I had to press my way today. But press our way we did, and we are certainly here today for you. So let me say hi to y'all as y'all come on up in here. Come on in the room. Hey, Montrez Jones, what's good, boo? I see you with your graduation picture looking all dapper and good, and your graduation cap and gown. What school you graduated from, Montrez? Hey, Nanita. Hey, El Teddy and the rest of the gang. Happy Wednesday. Hey, Nanita. How are you, my love? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yana, one of our hall monitors, she is here. Diamond Pearl Jim, new hall monitor. Diamond Pearl Jim, did you ever send me that message on Instagram so that I can add you to the groups on Instagram for hall monitors? Please send me a message on Instagram so I can add you to the groups for hall monitors. Jason, what's good? You know she on our she's in the dossier today, Jason. You already know. Tracy W. Volvo, what's good, Cookie? Budgets, weights. Hey, my love. Phil, what's good? Um, Phil was first. Listen. Hey, Yvette, should I do a late bell today? No late bell today. No late bell today. Can we? Can I get away with no late bell? Y'all think I can get away with no late bell today? Y'all, can I get away with it? Hall monitors. Should I do no late bell today? Y'all let me know. Let me know. Let me know. So, all right. Hey, Tracy C. So we got both Doublemint twins in here today. All right, we going with no. Right now, as of right now, no late bail. Now, if people come in here acting crazy, then we might have to get a late bail. But as of right now, ain't no late bail. So listen. Let me get that. I've been doing better by getting the sugar spiky stories out of the way first. This whole, damn near the whole dossier is sugar spiky. So, ladies and gentlemen, non-gender conforming members of our audience, I present to you your sugar spike segment.
Oh God. You see, this is the part that I like.
Major sugar spike.
So loved the world. I want to fight. That he gave his only begotten son.
Major sugar spike.
And shall ever believe.
Major sugar spike.
They shall not perish, but have everlasting life.
Taste the biscuit.
I wish somebody help me.
Jesus. So let me read this headline. Target sued over inclusion of LGBTQ plus franchise friendly merchandise, I should say. Let me read that the right way. Target sued over inclusion of LGBTQ friendly merchandise. Now, we knew this was coming. Remember during June, the bigots were out here losing their whole goddamn minds because Target had clothes that were, to promote Pride Month, and the bigots and evangelicals out there lost their whole goddamn mind. And so now we have litigations going on. Let me read this. And a conservative legal group led by former Trump administration official Stephen Miller, because that whole ass clown over there, he's a whole ass clown. That's forehead almighty himself. Anyway, former Trump administration official Stephen Miller filed a lawsuit on Tuesday against Target, alleging that the company misrepresented its risk monitoring capabilities in response to backlash resulting from the sale of LGBTQ themed merchandise. Representing investor Brian Craig, American First Legal has filed a lawsuit in federal court in Florida against Target chief executive Brian Cornell and Target's board of directors, Reuters reports. In recent years, Republicans and extreme right wingers have become increasingly critical of companies that affirm the rights of LGBTQ plus people. In his complaint, Craig claimed that Target's board had misrepresented the extent of its oversight of the company's, quote, social and political risks, end quote, in focusing on the agendas of progressive activists rather than the foreseeable backlash from consumers. Earlier, and it goes into, the stuff that happened during Pride Month. Craig, who owns 216 shares, which are worth approximately $29,000 as of this publication, claimed the company's board was not paying sufficient attention to social, political, and environmental risks while focusing solely on the company's ESG diversity, equity, and inclusion objectives. Um, I don't need to go no further. Y'all see what's going on. Listen, hey Cams. Um, so he has 219 shares, 216, excuse me, shares, target shares worth. Now this is not a majority stake. This isn't a blip in the bucket. This is a speck on the sand in the beach in terms of shares down there to the good Target. But as a shareholder for Target, he believes that he has the right to sue the company for misrepresentation, saying that the company had a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the risk that the reward outweighed the risk. Basically saying you should have knew the backlash that was going to happen, and because of the backlash that happened, you shouldn't have never put that up there because you could have cost the company money. That is the grounds of this lawsuit. In other words, we're racist ass, bigoted ass people who don't give a shit. And I told you I like my Target without black people, without LGBTQ people, as white can be. This ain't no goddamn Walmart. This is damn Target. We don't play this inclusive stuff. We don't do the marginalized people down here to the Target, okay? This is goddamn Target with our khaki pants and red shirts. Fuck you thought this was. We don't do marginalized groups. We don't do minorities here. We're only here to serve white Christian heterosexual people. And if we could, we'd cut out the women, but we don't want to do. But that's going to cost us money. A mess. A mess. For all of those people, remember there during the summer there was that black lady that had that viral video where she was screaming from the rooftops and preaching all about how, oh, this is so bad and how could Target do this, and I'm going to all of the Target stores to take this stuff down. Black lady, right? You think it's going to stop with the LGBTQ plus stuff? You think they're not going to start going after stuff involving black people? Because I'm going to tell you where they're going to start. They're going to start with Juneteenth. And after they hit Juneteenth, then they go hit Black History Month because of the backlash. And don't think Target won't acquiesce and bend the knee to these people. They're going to use a they're going to use Bud Light as a lesson. They're going to use what happened to Bud Light as their backing for why they choose not to do anything that promotes any minority. We talked about the story I think it was last week or week before, where we gave you the story about Bud Light and how Bud Light, for the first time in over 20 years, wasn't the number one beer in the country, all because of backlash because of Dylan Mulvaney. And if you don't think they're going to use that as ammunition to say we're no longer going to have any clothing or merchandise promoting any minority or marginalized group, you're reaching. Hey, Miss Baythang, I feel like I ain't seen you in a minute. How you been, boo? So you listening and working? Okay, boo. But yeah, this is happening, y'all. I'm telling you, this is happening. In more spiky news. Oh, that wasn't spiky? Let me read this headline. Hey, lovely 31 Blueprint. Let me read this headline for you. Because if that wasn't spiky enough, let me read y'all this. Hey, Morgan. Headline. The headline says lawyer for alleged O'Shea Sibley killer claims client is a quote good Christian boy, end quote. Now they just laid O'Shea Sibley to rest last night down there to the Philadelphia. I think it was at the Philadelphia Metropolitan theater or whatever. They just laid O'Shea Sibley to rest last night. Just had the funeral homegoing services yesterday. And here we are, less than 24 hours later, we got this fuck shit and fuckery going on. Let me read this bullshit to you. The lawyer of the teen accused of killing O'Shea Sibley at a gas station last month because the Brooklyn dancer's voguing offended his Muslim religion claims his client is actually, quote, a good Christian boy, end quote, with many black friends. Much of the attack was caught on surveillance video. Dmitry Popov, 17, has been charged as an adult with second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon in the death of 28-year-old O'Shea Sibley on Saturday, July 28th. Popov is accused of stabbing Sibley after he and a group of friends used anti-gay and anti-black slurs as they objected to the Brooklyn dancer's voguing, allegedly saying it offended their Muslim faith. Popov pleaded not guilty to the charges at a court appearance in New York City on Monday. In a series of interviews with the media, his lawyer, Mike Pollard, denied the accusation his client used anti-gay and racist language during the incident. Pollard instead described Popov as a good Christian boy to local Fox affiliate WPIX when responding to accusation his client is a Muslim or uttered the offensive language. Quote, I can tell you unequivocally my client denies that. He's not Muslim. He has many black friends and his brother is married to a black woman. Nothing in his background makes me think he hates black people or the LGBTQ people, as he put it, and he denies that. And that's the end of that quote. At a press conference on Saturday, NYPD Assistant Chief Joe Kenny disputed those claims, instead alleging Popov taunted Sibley and his friends with anti-gay and anti-black words. Quote, as the group began to yell at Mr. Sibley and his friends, they began to call them derogatory names and used homophobic slurs against them. They also made anti-black statements, all while demanding that they simply stop dancing. End quote. Witnesses reportedly accused Popov of saying, stop dancing here and we are Muslim and get that gay shit out of here before the attack turned deadly. Sibley was stabbed late in the evening at the gas station. The professional, and it goes on to give more information about O'Shea. Police said Popov stabbed Sibley once in the chest before fleeing the scene. Prosecutors in court on Monday claimed Popov shaved his head in an attempt to disguise his appearance immediately after the stabbing. He is also alleged to have turned off his phone as well. He surrendered to authorities on Friday and remains in custody. If you're telling me that the boy shaved his head so as to throw people off and he wouldn't be recognized, doesn't it stand to reason that that same boy would then magically become Christian so as not to align himself with the Muslim sentiments from that day? Couldn't, just like he changed his hair to throw you off, couldn't he just be magically changing religions so as to throw you off? Couldn't he magically be so in tune with his sister-in-law who happens to be black? A mess. This is what we got going on. This is what we have going on in these yet to be United States of America. I don't know what y'all want from me. I just report the news here. In more spiky news, Governor death sentence. Ron DeSantis has suspended another Democratic prosecutor as he seeks the GOP nomination. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suspended the top prosecutor in Orlando, again wielding his executive power over local government and taking on a contentious issue in the 2024 presidential race. It's the second time DeSantis, a Republican, has removed a Democratic state attorney and follows an investigation that began when a teenager was charged with fatally shooting a television reporter and a 9-year old girl. Quote, it is my duty as governor to ensure that the laws enacted by our duly elected legislature are followed, end quote, DeSantis said during a news conference in Tallahassee announcing the suspension of State Attorney Monique Worrell, of the Ninth Judicial Circuit, which serves Orange and Osceola County. Worrell vowed to seek re-election next year and said her removal from was political and not about her performance. She also suggested DeSantis' timing was to distract from a stagnant presidential campaign that faced layoffs and changes at the top as it struggled to regain traction. Quote, is what, oh yeah, she is a black woman. Did I forget to tell you that? The only black woman state attorney in all of the state of Florida. Quote, he needed to get back in the media in some positive way that would be red meat for his base, and he will have accomplished that today. He replaced his campaign manager yesterday, and I guess today it's my turn. End quote. That's what State Attorney Worrell said. DeSantis' office began investigating Worrell after 19-year-old Keith Moses was charged with first-degree murder in the deaths of Spectrum News 13 reporter Dylan Lyons, Natasha Augustin, and 9-year-old Tiana Major. The girl's mother and Spectrum News 13 photographer Jesse Walden, were also shot. Shortly after the shooting, DeSantis' general counsel said in a letter to Worrell that she failed to hold Moses accountable despite his criminal record and gang affiliation. The governor's office sought Moses' juvenile record, which are usually protected. In his announcement Wednesday, DeSantis cited other cases and said Worrell avoided minimum mandatory sentences on charges that included gun crimes, drug trafficking, and child pornography. He also said the state attorney's office had a pattern of letting juveniles avoid serious charges or incarceration, and noted the shooting over the weekend of 2 Orlando police officers by a 22-year-old man with a long criminal history. But Democrats said that Worrell's suspension was politically motivated and noted she is the only black woman in Florida elected to serve as a state attorney. Quote, this is absolutely disgusting. Her removal is a complete slap in the face to the Orange and Osceola County residents, and another example of Governor DeSantis eroding our local control and democracy. This politically motivated action by the governor is in a predominantly Democratic part of the state should alarm everyone, end quote. And that's Democratic Representative Anna Escamani. We know last year he removed the state attorney from over there in Tampa because he said that he would not pursue charges against doctors who provided gender transition treatments. Listen, there's a lot here. There's a lot to unpack here. Now, before I get to DeSantis and what he did, now Monique Worrell, at the merits of this, you have a situation where Um, you have a situation where you have a 19-year-old Keith Moses who shot multiple people. A few people died. He was charged with first degree murder um, against the news reporter and the 9-year-old girl. He also shot two other people, as she chose not to press charges. I'm sorry, she's not to press charges, but not to continue with the case. Um, and so DeSantis is calling now. Well, let me take this. Let me go back. That by itself, i- if I'm being honest, is egregious. You should have a full throated prosecution against someone who shoots multiple people, two of whom ended up dead. And they were tried for NJ, and they were charged with um, first degree murder. Now, that is true. Now, I cannot defend that, Miss Worrell. I cannot defend that. However, just like your derelict of duty ass, Ron DeSantis, was elected by the people and are serving in that position, even though there's an entire dereliction of duty or malpractice of duties by you in your role as governor of this great state of Florida, and you ain't been put out of your seat. Even if you tell me that Miss Worrell is derelict of duty, Miss Worrell was not put there by you, sir. She was duly elected in a whole democratic process. And rather than there being a whole procedure or process, maybe she can be impeached. And so maybe you have a whole full scale, full throated process where she goes before some judiciary board or whatever the situation is, where there's, a real process by which this happened. You just swoop in and ceremoniously say, "Well, I don't like that you didn't prosecute that. So there you go. Thank you for your services. Please drive safely." And then you get rid of the only black female state attorney, and the person you appointed is not a black female to that position because you wanted to be able to appoint who you want anyway. See, here's the slippery slope. While I can say, yeah, I can't really justify those actions, Miss Worrell, at the same breath, when then begin to start allowing this governor to just ceremoniously remove people from office that have been duly elected and then appoint who he wants in that position, now we have a whole dictatorship, a whole uh, a whole authoritarian government going on. Let me see what y'all saying in these comments, because this is a whole mess. This is a whole mess. If we were dismissing people from failing to do their job, shouldn't we dismiss this? We should. If she wants to reform the system, this wasn't the appropriate place to do so. I agree. If Florida could be this could if in Florida could the state have decided to continue forward with the prosecutions if she declined? I don't believe so. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm really not sure. But my thing is this: even if she made a misstep, even if she was wrong, I think we go down a slippery slope when you have governor death sentence ceremoniously removing people from office and that were duly elected, and then deciding himself who he wants in those respective offices. That ain't good either. That is not good. So, I don't know, y'all. I'm trying to see if I have any other information on it. Mm. Yeah, the exact words in his statement was that he was suspending her for neglect of duty and incompetence. Yeah. She went on to say, but under this tyranny, elected officials can be removed simply for political purposes and by a whim of the governor. No matter how you feel about me, you should not be okay with that. That's what she said. We know last year in Tampa, he didn't like the fact that the state attorney over in Hillsborough County said, I'm not prosecuting doctors who perform gender affirming care. And he was removed. So what we have going here's the double-sided part of it. What you have going on is you have an authoritarian dictator in the form of Governor DeSantis who pushes and forces things into law, forces laws that violate, if you ask me, Florida Constitution. Mind you, he's going about changing the Florida Constitution. So you have somebody changing parts of the Florida Constitution, changing laws, getting these things pushed through the legislature and put on the floor of the Florida legislature and ceremoniously passed, put on his desk for him to sign into law. And you have laws that violate the rights of the citizens of the state of Florida. Then you ask the state attorneys to uphold those laws that they took oaths that they would not uphold, you know, uphold laws that violate the rights of the citizenry to which they've been elected to support. So you're asking people to do things that go completely counter to the whole job that they have. If I'm a state prosecutor, I have to prosecute things that I know are going to be for the betterment of the citizens to which I have been elected to represent. And you're telling me that your asinine ass laws go against the well-being or the rights of these same people, but you want me to uphold those laws and um cause um and cause the citizens to which I've been elected to represent not to have the full rights that they should have as citizens of this state. I won't do it. And so these people have decided that they're going to uphold their morals. They're going to uphold the job that they were supposed to do, regardless of how you try to push things down the pipeline. It's a whole situation. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do think Miss Worrell was wrong for not pushing this issue. I mean, let's be clear. The governor was wrong for introducing the young man's criminal history that was supposed to be sealed and or expunged from when he was a minor. But at the same breath, Miss Worrell, he did shoot several people and killed two of them. So even if we don't introduce, hey D, even if we don't introduce into the atmosphere his criminal background, that on its own merit is enough. Here's a story that not of a lovely lady. Here's a story that I found interesting and is another story where conservatives are getting their comeuppance. A pastor is alarmed after his Trump loving congregants deride Jesus' teachings as weak. Oh, you're surprised that your conservative, ultra MAGA, parishioners think that Jesus' teachings are weak? Hello, nothing about Trump, nothing about what these conservative, ultra negative evangelicals believe has anything aligned with what Jesus Christ was trying to teach. Evangelical Christian leader Russell Moore revealed this week that many evangelical pastors have become alarmed that their Trump loving congregants have become so militant that they are even rejecting the teachings of Jesus Christ. How did you think this was going to work? How did you think this was going to work? Because y'all are creating your own cult. Y'all are creating your own religion that deifies Donald John Trump. And you thought that they were going to want to hear the teachings of someone like Jesus Christ, someone who preached love, inclusivity, and all of those teachings. You really think they want to hear anything Jesus Christ got to say? We are looking at probably what's turning into what the Bible talked about as being the Antichrist. I can see a lot of people say if he wins the 2024 election, that we have now seen the birthing of what probably is what the Bible called the Antichrist. Because I wholeheartedly believe that these evangelicals want no real parts of the teachings of the Bible, but only wants every word that spews out of the mouth of Donald John Trump. And that, my friends, is a whole ass cult. Quote in an interview with NPR, Moore said that multiple pastors had told him disturbing stories about their congregants being upset when they read from the famous Sermon on the Mount, in which Jesus espoused the principles of forgiveness and mercy as central to Christian doctrine. Multiple pastors tell me essentially the same story about quoting the Sermon on the Mount parenthetically in their preaching, turn the other cheek, and to have someone come up after to say, where did you get those liberal talking points? And what was alarming to me is that in most of these scenarios, when the pastor would say, I'm literally quoting Jesus Christ, the response would not be, I apologize. The response would be, yes, but that doesn't work anymore. That's weak. End quote. Let's be clear. For most of these evangelicals and devout Christians, they have no interest in Christianity. They have no interest in Christ. They have no interest in following the teachings of the Bible. They only want to hold it in their hand, flail it at you, and use it as justification as to why they are superior to you, why they deserve their mantle of white privilege and breastplate of white supremacy. They only want to use it as a weapon to further oppress anyone that does not look like them. That's the only purpose they have of the Bible. They don't want anything to do with the teachings of Jesus Christ. They damn sure don't want anything to do with truly following the rules, laws, and edicts that you find in the Bible. They don't want any parts of that. Let's be clear. They want to justify their superiority, and they want to justify and find reasoning for their oppression of people all across this world. Moore, who has been an outspoken critic of many evangelicals' embrace of Trump, argues that this has led him to conclude that American evangelical Christianity is now in crisis. Really? Quote, when we get to the point where the teachings of Jesus himself are seen as subversive to us, then we're in crisis. End quote, he said. Moore also said that one problem is that many Christians simply feel alienated and lonely as politics have come to take over the community outlets that churches once held. Quote, the roots of the political problem really come down to disconnection, loneliness, sense of alienation. Even in churches that are still healthy and functioning, regular church going is not what it was a generation ago, in which the entire structure of the week was defined by the community. End quote. Let's be clear, a lot of people just stopped going to church. Many people, even some of these evangelicals, they don't even go there as the church anymore. After the pandemic, they learned, oh, I was spending all my time at church and I don't have to go and I can still be a Bible thumper. I ain't going. And they never went back. Churches are on the decline all over the country, regardless of denomination. A mess. A whole mess. A whole mess. There's more to the story, but I ain't gonna go there. You get the gist of it. People literally ignore the part where Jesus abolished the old laws, which is why we have the New and Old Testament. These people are fools and whores. Yeah, well, then there's that. Um. Oh, Governor Tim Scott is in the news. Why? Because Governor Tim Scott says it's ridiculous. Not Governor Tim Scott, Senator Tim Scott. Urgh. Gumby. I'm gonna call him Gumby because all we see when we see him is gums, and I don't want to call him Gums. I could have called him Mushmouth. Wasn't that the guy's name from Fat Albert, Mushmouth? I think we should call him Mushmouth from Fat Albert. Isn't that who he looks like from Fat Albert, the one Mushmouth? I think that's the one I'm thinking about. That Senator Tim Scott looks like. Anyway, let me look up. Let me look that up. Mushmouth from Fat Albert. Let me make sure that's the right one. Yep, it's Mushmouth. I knew it. Mushmouth was the one that used to wear the little skull cap, had on the orange. Yep, that's Mushmouth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Senator Tim Scott on Wednesday said it's ridiculous to talk about a climate emergency when the country is facing an emergency at its southern border. During an interview on Fox and Friends, Tim Scott, who is running for the GOP presidential nomination, was asked about President Biden's recent interview with the Weather Channel, in which the president said that, effectively speaking, he already declared a national emergency concerning climate change. Fox News' Brian Kilmeade said Scott asked Scott why he believed Biden, who did the interview from the Grand Canyon where he had established a new national monument, did not instead do the interview near the southern border. Scott visited the southern border at Yuma, Arizona last week, calling it a dereliction of duty. Scott said, let's be clear about it. President Biden has failed this nation, especially in declaring the actual emergency, which is an emergency at our border. Fentanyl has killed 70,000 Americans. He should reinstate Title 42 for a health emergency called fentanyl. It's killing Americans. End quote. So let's get this straight, Senator Mushmouth. Tim Scott. You seem to believe that all the fentanyl in this country is coming from the southern border? But that makes sense. These are the same idiots, imbeciles that say there's no such animal as climate change. So why would I not expect them to believe that all fentanyl comes from Mexico and the southern border? Newsflash, sir, most of the fentanyl in this country comes from this country. This is a horrible place filled with horrible people, starting with people like you, Senator Mushmouth, Tim Scott. Hey, Queen Ruler. For some reason, I haven't seen your videos on my feed, but it's great to see you again. Great to see you as well, all the way from Queen Sugar Review. Yeah, we go all the way back to Queen Sugar Reviews. Shout out to my old people. Cha. But yeah, we got a whole situation going on. I don't expect Senator Tim Scott, who doesn't believe that this country is racist, who doesn't believe we have a problem with this country and race, to believe that there's a climate change or to have any knowledge that really most of the fentanyl that's in this country came from this country. I mean, let him tell it. The southern border is just open, and we got a whole factory at the southern border where we're just bringing in at the truckloads fentanyl from across the border. Just fentanyl just pouring into the country from the southern border. That's how people are dying. Always smoke for the southern border, no smoke for the northern border. And there's a whole lot of shit coming in here from the northern border. That's a whole nother story. Whole lot of shit coming out in here from ships and planes that ain't got nothing to do with the southern border. But that's a whole nother story. hmm But what do I expect from Senator Mushmouth? What do we expect? Moving on. Ohio, you're in the news. Hey, Sharice. Yesterday, Ohio rejected a measure that, let me read this because this is good news. Ohio voters on Tuesday decisively rejected a Republican authored measure that would have made it more difficult to amend the state constitution through the ballot initiative process. A billionaire funded effort aimed at preempting a November vote on abortion rights. If approved by voters, the measure known as Issue 1 would have raised the threshold for passage of a constitutional amendment from a simple majority to 60%. The measure also would have imposed more stringent signature requirements for Ohio ballot initiatives. The GOP proposal, which was the only item on the ballot in Tuesday's special election, failed by a vote of 43% to 57%, according to the Ohio Secretary of State's office. Quote, Issue 1 was a blatant attempt by its supporters to control both the policy agenda and the process of direct democracy. When they forced Issue 1 onto the ballot, they awakened a sleeping giant and unleashed a movement. And that movement isn't going away tomorrow. It will continue to build and grow and to carry us through to victories in November and beyond, end quote. What they were looking to do was um, Issue 1 was directly going toward abortion rights. Abortion is on the ballot in November in the great state of Ohio. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to change the rule and make the threshold for making constitutional amendments to the Constitution of the state of Ohio at 60% and not simple majority, which is, 50% plus one. So people saw through it and said, fuck you, fuck your life. The shit will be at simple majority. And they're afraid of that because they know most areas and the country at large is somewhere in the upper 50, mid to up to upper 50s in favor of abortion rights. Some usually, if you look at most of the polls, a generous poll may have you in the low 60s, but most polls have you somewhere meandering around mid to upper 50s in terms of support for abortion rights. They knew that, and so they felt that if we say that you need 60%, that will be enough to get us a law, a loss in terms of abortion rights. That then passed because the people of Ohio said, fuck you and fuck your life. I'm here for it. Now, the whole measure was introduced and funded by a conservative billionaire who had funded the campaigns of Senator, what's his name, Wackadoo, that just got elected out of Ohio. I can't think of his name right now. It's going to come to me. who just got elected last November, and several other Ohio conservatives. Just a mess. Um, Now, at least 10 states have tried to make it harder to pass citizen led ballot initiatives this year. Some of those states are Ohio, Florida, Arizona, Oklahoma. And we've seen this over and over. It's not just abortion rights. We saw them do it when there were ballot initiatives for legalizing marijuana and other issues that conservatives want no parts of. So what they do is they'll put something out there that says, "Oh, we're going to raise the threshold for a ballot initiative to pass just to make it harder for these people to get what they want because they want no parts of the citizens getting what they want. They want every parts of the true minority, which is the big five: white, male, Christian, heterosexual, rich. Those people who fit into the Pentagon, though that's the real minority, and they don't want you to know that." Anyway, moving on. Diane Feinstein, help us, God. Diane Feinstein is in the news. All right. So, Diane Feinstein fell over the weekend and was hospitalized. This is this is a problem that's been happening over and over and over. Um the woman, she's the Strom Thurmond. Now, Strom Thurmond in staying too long, not Strom Thurmond necessarily in political beliefs. If you remember, Strom Thurmond did like 60 plus years in the Senate. And Strom Thurmond, at the end of his career, was being wheeled into the Senate chambers just to cast a vote, which he didn't even know what he was voting on at that point, and then leave. And that's the same thing we got going on with Diane Feinstein, okay? This is the exact same thing that happens now. People are asking for Diane Feinstein to resign, right? I want you all to hear what happens if Diane Feinstein resigns. Here, let me read this for you. Um, Feinstein, who is 89, wait, hold on. She's 89 years old. Um, Read this to you. If Feinstein resigns before her term ends, California Governor Gavin Newsom would be responsible for appointing a replacement to serve for the remainder of the term, which would give the person a leg up on the 2024 election. Now, um, I'm looking for the part that says what happens if she doesn't resign, and by some, I'm not wishing death on anybody, but dies in the seat, because that's a whole different can of worms. Um, I'm trying to find that part. Give me just 1 second. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to find um trying to find the place. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Just 1 second. sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is bad YouTubing. Um. All right. Let me read this because I think this spell. This is what I was looking for. Um. Feinstein could resign of her own accord, and she'd swiftly be replaced by a senator able to perform his or her duties. But she's so far refused to bow to such pressure that effectively robs Democrats of their ability to easily advance federal judges for confirmation, which is one of the few things the party can do without control of the House. Where's it at? I just saw it. Mm, I'm sorry. I just cannot find this. Hold on, y'all. I can't. I know that there. The thing that I was looking for is if Diane Feinstein, um, because there's California can appoint another senator with no restrict. No, I know that they can appoint another senator with no restrictions. The problem Gavin Newsom is having with that is this: he doesn't want to give a leg up to anyone that's in the race. If she resigns, Gavin Newsom would be able to appoint somebody, and they would stay in that. According to California, in California, that person would stay in office until the next regular election in California, which is not. And since she's coming out next year, she'll that person will stay in until election next November. Problem is, Gavin Newsom doesn't want to give a leg up to anybody that's in the race. There are several people in the race. Adam Schiff, um, Katie Porter, uh, 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 Barbara Lee. Um, there are several people who are running for that position. He doesn't want to give a leg up. If the woman just sits there and keeps missing votes, falling down at every turn, what could end up happening. See, here's what you want. What you want is from now until next November, because we don't know what the hell. Let's be clear. Nobody really knows what's going to happen next November. It's a long time between now and next November. It's a whole what? One, two, about 18 months, 17. No, I'm not 18 months. About what? 14 or 15 months between now and November. That's a long ass time. So anything could happen. We don't know if Joe Biden's going to win. Hell, we don't know if Joe Biden's going to fall or slip on something and die, crack his skull and die. We don't know. So the point is, with Diane, what they Dems need to do is take a cue from Donald Trump and the Republicans. There's a whole lot of judicial nominees that need to be filled. Y'all need to be being about the business of filling as many judicial seats on the federal bench as you can. Because if things don't go the right way, who knows what the fuck they're going to do next year? Who knows? And so, with that being said, y'all need to do everything in y'all power to fill those seats. You can't do that if Dianne Feinstein is always out. You can't bring it to a vote because Dianne Feinstein is never there to carry the vote. And they have a very slim majority over there. But she falling out all over the place. I mean, I don't want to diminish and demean this woman who's done a lot during the course of her career. I know. But ma'am, you've outlived your welcome. It's time to go. You're doing more harm than you're doing good right now, Diane Feinstein. Please go away. Please. Please. The woman is older than God at this point. The woman is older than God. Now, I'm who my vote will go to Porter. I want no parts of Adam Schiff because Adam Schiff is a part of the establishment. He's one of that. He's a part of that Pelosi, um, Clyburn regime, and all of them that's here for that fuck shit. Katie Porter is over there in the squad, and she's here for it. I'm here for all of the members of the squad. I love Barbara Lee, love her down. But if I have to choose between Katie Porter and Barbara Lee, I'm going Katie Porter. I'm just being honest. And Barbara Lee is a black woman, and I love Barbara Lee. But if I'm voting between Katie Porter and Barbara Lee, I'm going Katie Porter. I don't live in the great state of California, so I guess that's not a decision for me to make. My last story for the day is a good story. Justin Jones and Justin Pearson have been duly reelected to their position. Election was on Tuesday, and they were reelected to their duly real. We know that um, there was a special election that had to happen because they were ousted by the Tennessee House of Representatives, and so they have been duly and truly elected back to their seats. They had already been serving their seats, and they have been appointed, reappointed by their individual municipalities or constituencies up until a time when a special election could be had. That special election was had, and Justin Jones and Justin Pearson were duly elected back to their positions. Now, to go further, Justin Jones has garnered the support former former Attorney General Eric Holder, who is now taking Tennessee House Speaker Cameron Sexton to task and putting pressure on him and asking that Justin Jones be fully reinstated since he won his seat back in the special election. Actually, the special election was last week, Thursday. Um, but he's saying that he should be, quote, fully reinstated to all rights, duties, and privileges of office, including all committee assignments, end quote. And see, that's where they try to get you. Yeah, we'll let you back in here, but don't look to be on no committees, or they'll try and censure. Now they can't be removed again because according to their house rules, there can't be double jeopardy. They already had a whole full throated removal of these gentlemen from office. They were duly and truly reelected, and they can't do that again. It's a one and done. Once you do it one time, you can't try it again. So those two gentlemen won't have to face that type of adversity again. But Eric Holder is putting his backing behind Justin Jones and asking House Speaker Sexton, you need to give them all of their rights and privileges back and put them back on all of their committees. Stop playing. So we're happy for them, the Jones brothers, as I like to call them. We are. Eric Holder has already had that letter delivered to House Speaker Sexton, and we'll see. He's already threatened litigation. Eric Holder has already said little litigation will follow if Justin Jones is not fully reinstated with all due rights and privileges to include committee assignments. So we're gonna keep you abreast on that situation. We're here for it. Shout out to Eric Holder who told him, "Yeah, bruh, this ain't going down like that." Mm-mm, mm-mm. You thought it was over? Mm-mm. Nah, bruh. Mm-mm. So, um, anyway, that was our last story of the day. Listen, y'all, oh, I made it through. I'm so proud of myself. Today, we made it through. We were back today. I know I was a little lethargic today. My energy is gone. If you didn't go watch Teacher Project 2.0, go see us on Teacher Project 2.0. I had a lot of energy for Teacher Project 2.0, and Teacher Project 2.0 kind of drained all my energy, and I really didn't get a chance to rest in between. So I came and did my live because I got stuff to do tonight. So now I'm just kind of like dragging, but we made it through. We here. Shout out to you, L Teddy, because I am tired, y'all. I'm real tired. I really haven't had a break since I got up this morning and started work at 7 something this morning. Anyway, so I'm about to go get something to eat. And well, I ate a little bit during Teacher Project 2.0, but I'm about to go rest before I have a meeting in a little bit, y'all. Anyway, put some shondos in the chat. Put some shondos in the chat. Well, thank you, Cams. Thank you, sir. Um, we're up here doing what we got to do, giving you the information, giving you everything you need as things come up. I will always try to keep you all abreast of things that I know you all need to be aware of. It is getting much closer to political season. When the tide turns to August, things begin to get a lot more political. Some states and or municipalities have elections coming up this November. So we'll start to look at some of those elections that are coming up in some key areas for this year. If you have a what you deem to be an election that is that you'd like me to take a look at and report on here on my channel, let me know. I will send me the information. I should say all of my information is up here, and I'll certainly look into that and we'll report on that here. Um, that's all I got for y'all. Listen, as I always say, I love y'all. I love on y'all. Thank you all for being vocal, present, and active. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for any and all contributions that you make to the channel. They are much obliged and much appreciated. I thank y'all for rocking with me twice already today. I'm about to get out of here. It is my intent to do another live tomorrow. I can't promise you nothing this weekend because I got to go out of town this weekend. But I think y'all will forgive me if I'm not live this weekend because I have been being more consistent. At least I've been trying to be more consistent. So that's all I got for y'all. Always like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, join the membership. You can be a part of the members only live and have a great time like we do in the members only live. Trust me, the members only live is where it's at. That's where you want to be in the members only live. Please be clear. Um, I'm about to get out of here. If you want to donate to the platform, you can do that here with the Cash App. It's always appreciated. We're trying to keep the lights on over here. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely. I'm out.